and welcome to this Wednesday edition of Squared Circle Radio, the show that is for the fans, by the fans. I'm your phenomenal host, Mr. Podcasting Chris Belcher, and that is the young buck, Mr. Andy York. And Andy, we are back with episode number 2 this week, talking all things Money in the Bank, because Andy, Monday was so loaded, we just couldn't get to the pay-per-view over the weekend.
It's bad when the pay-per-view, I don't want to say it becomes an afterthought, but there's just so much happening that it's already like, oh yeah, that was 2 days ago. What are you talking about? We got to move on. Yeah, that's crazy.
I know. I was thinking the same thing as I'm prepping for these shows. I'm like, we don't really have time to talk about that. Again, this new format that we're trying to do 2 brand new episodes for you each week instead of, recycling clips from the longer episode. We're trying to do some newer content, sprinkling that throughout the week. Hope you guys are digging that. Again, on our YouTube channel, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, like this video, give us some comments below. Let us know what you think. Give us some thoughts on Money in the Bank. We'll reply to all of those. We would appreciate that so very much. If you're not following the show on social media at SQCircle_radio, make sure that you do that. Andy, let's get into it, because you sent out a tweet after Money in the Bank saying another year, another Money in the Bank briefcase winner wasted. I assume you were talking about the men's 2-time Money in the Bank winner, Seth Rollins, getting it done, as we sort of alluded to last week on our prediction show, that seemed to be the route they were going. We hoped not, because you could get to a Rollins world title match without it, but alas, here we are. Andy, what's your takeaways?
Yeah. Again, I don't hate the fact that Seth won it, because I think that it serves a purpose. And I think there is, it's a valid reason to have him win it. And I get that.
Yes.
But to accomplish the same thing that he could accomplish by winning King of the Ring, let's say,
sure,
he doesn't need the briefcase. I think out of everybody that was in that match, he was the Rhea Ripley of the men's match, where he was, out of everybody else, did not need to hold that briefcase. Doesn't still need to hold the briefcase. And no, this isn't my pro LA Knight spiel I'm going to go on, because there's a soapbox I could jump on for that.
Of
This
course.
is 3 years in a row that this has happened.
Yes.
But, even a guy like Andrade, who had no chance of winning, seeing him almost win it gave me a lot of encouragement and hope of a young up and coming guy who has not had a world title opportunity yet on the main roster. Money in the Bank is built and made for that. Like, it's created for that. Whereas the last couple of years, I think Money in the Bank has been used as the prop in a storyline, not as an instrument to propel somebody's career.
Right.
And so that's where,
if there's one thing that Vince McMahon got right and Triple H has not, it's Money in the Bank. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, listen, I know you're going to love this. There's the report going around that he just hates the Money in the Bank briefcase. And if you kind of look throughout his career, he never dealt with that briefcase.
Right. It's true.
Like, he was never in a ladder match. He was never in a match for it. He was never, the only time he was a part of it was when Randy cashed in on Daniel Bryan. As far as I can remember. That's the only time I can remember him being a part of a cash in or the briefcase or anything like that. And so that it's kind of hard to go against that, of just using it as a tool in a storyline versus using it as an instrument to propel, or just to push into the stratosphere a guy like an LA Knight or a Penta or, Andrade, even like a guy like Solo Sikoa, that would have established him as like, okay, they think he's a main event level guy, like, whatever. I think out of everybody else, Seth's win, we already know the outcome of that win. Even though it didn't happen when we might have thought it was going to happen, we still know the outcome of that win and what's going to happen with it. Versus a guy like an LA Knight, is he going to cash in on Gunther now? Is he going to cash in on John Cena? Like, there's 2 massive options. So it feels like another wasted year. That's part of the reason why I'm really happy he didn't cash in on Monday, is because if he would have just held it for 48 hours, cashed in and won, then it really is a waste because you're literally doing the same thing. Or my other fear was that he was going to try to cash in during the main event and Money in the Bank, and Punk cost him again 2 years
Right.
in a row. Punk has cost the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Right.
So I stay away from that storyline. Do something different this year. But yeah, I feel like it was a wasted opportunity by putting it again on Seth rather than putting on somebody who could really use it.
I get your point. I do. But I also think that Seth is the safest option to get that percentage up. You know, when you look at that percentage of successful cash ins for the men, it's down in the 70s, and the women, it's at 100%. So I think in order to make it credible, you got to get that percentage back up. I'm not saying that LA Knight couldn't be world champion. Hear me when I say that. But I think with Seth being the option, I think yes, it furthers a story, but it furthers the story in a different way than last year. Like last year, we saw the immediate gratification of rushing this, or not rushing the story, the immediate gratification of what that story was going to be with the Money in the briefcase. You and I were on our recap show last year, just salivating over the fact that, like, normally we would hate this, but this is awesome and it's really, really cool. So, yes, they're using it as part of a story, but they're doing it already in a different way. You know, Seth didn't cash in on Monday, which we were talking about. So, let's just see where it kind of goes. Again, I made the case for Seth Rollins to win last week. You agreed. And again, you said at the top of the show, you didn't hate the fact that Seth won. You just wish that opportunity would have gone to somebody else. And I think that argument is extremely valid. I will harken back to them trying to make Seth Rollins the lead story on Monday Night Raw and everything pointing to him. Sami Zayn warning CM Punk, hey, you can't let him win, etc., whatever. And he did. So now I think the ripple effect of Rollins winning is what we have to wait and see. You know, it's not a wait and see of the outcome of Seth. It's what the ripple effect is going to do by him winning. And what that I have all the power actually looks like.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I just, like you mentioned, Sammy gave him that big spiel. Obviously, Punk didn't win the match. Seth was in the match. Why didn't Punk, though, come out to cost him? Storyline wise, that makes 1,000%. And then on Monday night, we get, Punk coming out to even talk about Cena, not even really talking about Seth. He mentioned him a couple times, but not even really talking about what happened. It's just kind of already forgotten about what happened last Monday. That's what kind of strikes a chord with me is, from not even from a storyline perspective, from a character development perspective, what kind of a guy is Punk? Well, he's a vindictive guy that would have absolutely gone out there and cost Seth Rollins the briefcase and would have pushed him off that ladder, especially after Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker got taken out by Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo. Like, yeah, of course he would have come out and cost them, and it was just nothing. It was absolutely just nothing.
Even if he would have come out and Bronson Reed would have somehow stopped him, or Braun Breaker would have somehow stopped him, at least he came.
Or you introduce a fourth man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like something like that. I think that would have been better than just, oh, Punk didn't show up. Okay. And then here he is on Monday, not talking about it at all.
I do agree that the ending was lacking, and I obviously wanted Roman Reigns to show up, but that didn't happen either. The ending did feel a little bit lacking. I will tell you this, as far as the other competitors go, I was watching this with my 5-year-old. I texted you this in the middle of the show, man. He was all about El Grande Americano winning this match. That dude is going to get over with the kids, and he's going to be a massive baby face. I'm just mark it down right now. I'm telling you.
Oh no. When you texted me that, I've never been more disappointed in him than in that or you, because for letting that happen. Listen, I said it on the preview. Do I believe Chad Gable is a world champion material? Absolutely, I do. Do I want to see him get there in this gimmick? No, I do not.
Yeah.
This to me very kind of different, but not really. It would be like if Stardust won the world title.
Yeah.
Before Cody did.
Yeah.
So like that, there was a moment when he was climbing up and he was the only one, and they started to do that slow zoom, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they are doing it! He is going to win this thing right now."
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was unsure there for a little while. It was definitely an unpredictable, very good match. Here's what I didn't like about the match. Actually, and you're going to, especially judging by your attire, are going to go against exactly what I'm saying. I'm going to say it anyway. I hated that Jacob Fatu stole the spotlight of this match, and he wasn't even in it. The reason I hate it is the same reason that you don't like Seth Rollins winning the briefcase. We could have gotten it at another time, and it would have been fine. Here's the reason. I would have been okay, because we all know that on Friday Night SmackDown, Solo, they pulled the Damage Control storyline where Solo and JC are talking about Jacob. Jacob overhears it. They don't know it. Jacob comes out. He starts to help Solo, and then he costs him. I'm okay with him costing him. The problem is the dude did a pop-up Samoan drop to Bronson Reed, and then did a suicide dive, then did a springboard moonsault on Solo, and then did a Uranagi through a ladder. Like, we all know he's a made man, but he wasn't even in the match. Like, I don't know. They just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very valid reason, and my argument to that is put him in the match.
Well, okay. But then he would have lost to Seth Rollins, and then you might be even more upset.
No, because if he'd have lost again by kind of doing the same exact thing, of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker coming out, oh, who's the biggest threat to Seth Rollins in this match? Jacob Fatu. Who are they going to take out first?
Yeah,
Jacob Fatu. So like, sure. I don't have a problem, especially in a ladder match. He's not getting pinned. He's not, nothing like that is happening. He's just getting, Braun Strowman and just being, everybody's going after him and bury him under stuff because that's the only way you can keep him down. Kind of like what they did with Rhea in the women's match with all the ladders.
Yeah.
I think they tried to avoid putting him in this match for that reason, but I honestly believe it would have helped even more if he was in this match, causing more tension between Solo and him.
Yep.
And then, maybe it comes to the top where you're at the top of the ladder. They're both looking at the briefcase. Solo thinks he's going to be the one to go get it. And then all of a sudden Jacob hits a Uranagi off the top. And it's like, oh, like he,
sure.
He turned worse, but it's not just in the match or just like taking over the match, but it's part of the match structure and what's going on. So I think that would have been better.
Yep.
I did pop though when he yelled, "I hate you," Solo. Yes. I was like, that's great. That's a great way to turn him heel or turn him face and go after Solo. I will say this though. Solo Sikoa surprised me a lot in this. He was very funny in this.
Yeah.
You could tell he's been hanging out with Roman a lot and doing a lot of when he did the Penta walk across the ring, I lost it. I was dying laughing. So like if we let him be him on TV and not try to be Roman Reigns 2.0, I think this whole situation would have been very different from the beginning.
Sam Roberts brought this up on his podcast. I was not going to bring this up as we recap this, but Sam Roberts brought it up. You brought up Solo's personality. Let's just go down this rabbit hole for a second. We know that Jey Uso lost the championship on Monday Night Raw, and he may or may not have anything to do with this. I don't know. We also alluded to the fact on Monday's episode that Solo was trying to recruit Jimmy to come back to the bloodline. What if now that Jacob is gone, that Jimmy does come to the rescue of his real life little brother and goes and fights his battle against Jacob Fatu, and we do have that reunion? And I say that because what if Solo, I don't want to say he turns babyface, but he somehow develops that Uso personality a little more when you put them together? What do you think about, and again, with or without Jay, I don't know. What do you think about the Jimmy reunion?
I don't hate it, but I think it's too late in a weird way. I think it's too late and too early for that. Like, I think it's
explain yourself on that one.
I think it's too late to turn Jimmy into a heel again.
Yeah.
And I think it's too early to turn Solo into a babyface. So I think it's best to keep them away for 6 months, WrestleMania time.
Okay.
And then, maybe, Jeff Cobb JC Mateo and the Tongans are attacking Solo. They've turned their back on Solo. They're going after him. And here comes Jimmy and Jay to run down to make the save. And then that's our match at WrestleMania is a 6-man tag, those 3 versus the other 3. So I think that looks better than just kind of doing it instantly and doing it quickly. Plus I also think like we have to go through Jacob and Solo at some point, one-on-one, probably SummerSlam.
Yep. They better. They cannot drag this out any longer.
No. They may make it a Bloodline Rules match.
Sure.
The first one without Roman, and I don't know who comes to the aid of Jacob. Maybe he doesn't need the aid. Maybe he just runs through everybody that runs out there because I would be fine with that. He's just a one-man wrecking crew. And then, maybe Jacob goes after the U.S. title again. Maybe he goes after a world title. Maybe that's when Roman comes back and we tease that feud even more. I think there's a lot of options from this. But I think it's too early to go that route with Solo and turn him into a face. But if he keeps doing what he did at Money in the Bank, I don't think it'll be as hard to turn him face as we thought it would originally. I think it's going to be a lot easier if they let him be him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I completely agree, especially when you saddle him with Jimmy Uso, who has garnered a whole lot of popularity recently. And then if you were to add Jey Uso into this, I mean, it just writes itself. It's very, very easy, like you were saying. Very, very good men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Lots of things coming out of it. Again, the ripple effect of Seth Rollins winning. We'll see exactly what that looks like. Let's turn to the women, because as we have said, the men might not be making stars with their winners, but the women, Io Sky last year, Naomi in a big spot this year. You called it on our preview show, man. This is a great spot for Naomi. Again, not a new star, but one who is getting her just due with this win.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially with a brand new character, a brand new persona, trying different things out. I think this, was the best case scenario for that match. Obviously, one of the 3 younger ones winning would have been great for their careers, but they are literally just getting started, so there's a lot of opportunities for them. And I have a feeling the Rocket is going to be strapped. I mean, we already saw Roxanne move on in the Queen of the Ring tournament, so I think a Rocket's being strapped to all 3 of their backs, and they're just going right off to the top. But I do think this was the best case scenario. I'm excited to see what they do with Naomi. I don't know exactly when she's going to cash this thing in, but I think people are going to be excited when she does, because she's getting that opportunity. Coming back the way that she came back after the way she left in the first place, coming back then, not really getting a lot of opportunities, kind of playing the back seat to Jade and Bianca, and then coming out this year and winning the world title. I think that would be absolutely fantastic for her. So I'm really looking forward to see what they do with her.
We talk about long-term storytelling and stuff all the time. How long do you think, with them planning this story and what they've been doing with Jade and Bianca and Naomi, going back to, was it around Survivor Series last year is when the attack happened on Jade?
Something like that.
Or was it maybe even earlier than that?
Yeah.
I wonder how long this Money in the Bank, because it seems like we are headed to Naomi cashing in, and then maybe it's Jade Naomi straight up for the championship. Maybe you add Bianca and we get a triple threat somehow at SummerSlam. Who knows? But it seems like we're on a collision course. How long do you think they have penciled in Naomi to win this briefcase. Because if you would have asked me in October, November, whenever Jade got attacked, I would have told you Jade would be the one holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, not Naomi. So, in their ingenious creative minds, do you think it was penciled in that far back?
No. I would venture to say probably sometime post WrestleMania.
Okay.
I mean, especially given the reaction that Naomi's heel turn had with the fans and how much people have enjoyed it, and then how good their match was at WrestleMania, and how much people are invested in this story. Probably then is when at least the conversation started to happen, and then who knows when they penciled her in. My question is, how long do they hold off to do this match?
That's true. Yep.
Because I could see. I mean, listen, we know Triple H loves his long-term storytelling now. I could see a scenario where maybe she wins the title Survivor Series. Make it full circle from the attack and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Jade wins the Rumble, and we run it back at WrestleMania this year and do Naomi versus Jade. Maybe Bianca finds a way to add herself into a triple threat. Maybe she's like the special guest referee. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's a likely scenario where we get that triple threat or we get that match at WrestleMania next year or this year, this upcoming WrestleMania.
Yep.
And we hold off to like Survivor Series to pull the trigger on it.
You could wait a whole long time, and then you could just wait till Evolution coming up next month and have Jade and Naomi run it back again for the championship there.
Yeah.
It is in Jade's hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. So just saying, it would be a big crowning moment for Jade Cargill if that were to happen. All right, let's move on to the main event of Money in the Bank. Wasn't either of the ladder matches. It was a massive tag team match. Cody Rhodes and the former now World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso picking up the win over John Cena and Logan Paul with the help of Ron the Truth Killings making his surprise return, shocking all of us. Now, full disclosure, we're not really going to talk about Truth tonight because we dove into that very deeply on Monday's episode. If you missed Monday's episode, go back and check it out in the archives. Again, if you're listening on podcast or you're on the YouTube channel, it's available on both. Go check it out. It was a whole lot of fun. Had some great fan interaction and live chat. So go check it out. We dove really deep into the R2 situation, tried to dissect it as best we possibly could. But let's just stick to the match here. Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, man, I popped for the matching attire. I love when Cody does that with his partners, and it worked here. Of course, people forget former tag team champions teaming up again, getting the big win. Cody getting the pin over John Cena. Andy, exactly what we thought was going to happen. But if you look back at the last three Money in the Banks, the person to pin the World Heavyweight Champion gets the world title shot at SummerSlam and then goes on and loses. It's happened the last two. This is the third. Does Cody break the curse? What say you? I'm not asking for a prediction.
Right.
It just seems like that's where we're headed.
It does seem like that, especially since Cody is in the King of the Ring tournament. I could absolutely see him.
I missed that. I didn't realize that he was.
Yeah, the SmackDown side of the tournament is ridiculous. Let me see if I can find quickly.
Oh, I got it right here. I got it.
The men's side on SmackDown. Actually, all of them are ridiculous. But I think Cody being in it, I think he could be the guy to win.
Oh, sorry, I only have the women. I'll look it up. Go ahead.
I think Cody could be the guy to win the King of the Ring and then move on to face Cena at SummerSlam. Maybe he gets the win, maybe he doesn't. I could make the argument either way. Yep. But I think it's logical booking to kind of go this route with this and have, Cody get the pin over Cena with the help of Truth, and then go to SummerSlam, and maybe he finally is the one to do it because he is the face of the company. He is the guy. I mean, Punk in his promos on Monday night was like, yeah, he you faced the best. You faced the best of all of us in Cody, and you had to cheat to beat him. So like maybe that's the situation, the scenario that we're heading in. But I am excited for it. I think it is a possibility that he could break the curse of the last 2 years. I think it's also a real possibility that he, loses because who is it? Cardi B is the one that's hosting
Yes.
SummerSlam. Maybe she cost them with Travis Scott's help, and
Right.
I don't know, the hologram of Tupac comes out and cost them too. It's just something like that could happen too.
Do we know which of these matches we're getting this Friday, like the men's matches?
Yes.
Is it the Cody one or is it the Randy Orton one? I'm
gonna
be fine either way. I'm just curious.
I want to say it's the Randy one.
Okay.
Maybe we don't know.
Okay. I mean, I'm good either way. Honestly, those are two star-studded matches. Good grief.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see where they go moving forward, man. But again, we both predicted it on the prediction show, or on the preview show rather, that Cody was going to get the pin on John Cena. But a really good match. And dude, that moonsault from Logan Paul was just like, that's video game worthy. Like, that just doesn't happen. That was incredible.
Yeah, that was really done. That was done really well, and the drone shot was done really well.
So good, yeah.
That was done really. Especially the thing with Cody was cool, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you just see Jey Uso come flying in out of nowhere and just landed. That spot was really cool too.
Yeah, it really, really was. Let's talk about. We talked about Cody and what that might look like, and what his immediate future is with the King of the Ring tournament. Let's talk about the immediate future of John Cena. We didn't hit on this on the Monday show. We got to hit it here, Andy, because the dream match that you have been begging for since the retirement tour was announced on Monday Night Raw. It's not at Money in the Bank like you wanted, but it is at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia coming up at the end of this month. John Cena defends his WWE Championship against CM Punk. How do you feel about it being at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia? I did it. Try that again. Saudi Arabia.
Hate it that it's happening there. I'm not a fan of it happening there, just because I know even under the new regime, the Saudi Arabia shows are nothing but glorified house shows. They still feel that way to me, which I love the fact that the Rumble's there next year.
At least it won't be a glorified house show there.
It still might be. Like the greatest Royal Rumble might happen again. If we get a moment though where Titus O'Neil slides into the ring.
Wait, did you, we haven't talked about the WrestleMania fiasco of it moving from New Orleans to Las Vegas.
No, we haven't.
And that's fine. I don't think there's a whole lot to discuss there. I mean, there was a reason. We're never going to know the reason. I don't think it's worth speculating. But the point that I was going to make was, in the week, 2 weeks, or whatever it was that we were up in the air about where WrestleMania was going to be, there was obviously rumors that it was going to be in Saudi Arabia. Now, was it going to happen because of the Royal Rumble already being announced there for next year? So they weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
But did you see the rumor that somebody said, oh, it's going to go to Saudi Arabia and they're going to bill it as the greatest WrestleMania ever? Did you see that?
I did not see that.
I saw that and I literally fell over laughing. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would they do such a thing?
Oh, they're going to do it whenever WrestleMania goes there.
No,
they're going to name it that, the greatest WrestleMania.
Not under the Triple H regime, they won't. That's a Vince thing. I really don't think
it is. Really. However, that Saudi money talks, buddy. If it could get Punk to go to Saudi Arabia, that Saudi money talks. That's
fair. Let's get back on track. CM Punk, John Cena main eventing Night of Champions at the end of this month. I'm not the Punk fan that you are, so I'm okay with it happening here, but I'm just glad that the match is actually happening. I was worried, honestly, Andy, that the Elimination Chamber showdown was all we were going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of was too. Especially when it didn't happen at Money in the Bank, just because it writes itself. Sure. It writes for itself. But I am happy that we are getting this match. I think there is a chance that Punk not walks out with the title, but wins and then gets cashed in on. I think that's a real big possibility. I think it's also a big possibility that Punk is about to win, and then Seth costs him, and then cashes in on Cena, and Seth wins the title that way. However, that is a really bad way to end Cena's last run. Like Cena's last run with the world title,
and
is not great.
Probably a really bad way to. Maybe I'm stepping on some toes here, but I'm gonna say it. Really bad way to end the only championship reign of CM Punk. I'm not saying he won't win it again. I'm just saying there's a real good possibility that he won't win it again.
You're right. I think there is a really good possibility that he wouldn't win it again. I do think the way that they want to make Punk versus Seth feel different at SummerSlam, if they do that, is put a title on the line.
Yes.
Yes. But if Seth just wins the Money in the Bank briefcase to win the title, then drop it to Punk, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that's probably the other reason why I'm not a huge fan of Seth winning it, is just because there's not really a great outcome with him winning it, and a long-term outcome. But that being said, I am very excited to see what they do. I think there's going to be a lot of callbacks in their match. There's a lot of callbacks on the promo on Monday. They started off the exact same way he started off the pipe bomb. Just telling them that he hopes he's as uncomfortable as he could be because he has a lot of things he wants to lay out. It was just those little reminisce shots that went back and forth, I thought was done perfectly.
Didn't they do some callbacks during the Elimination Chamber match too?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. I thought so too. I think it's interesting that you brought up, Seth and cashing in and all that, and that kind of stuff. And we don't know how Roman Reigns fits into that. Obviously, we thought he'd come back at Money in the Bank. That didn't happen. We thought that it would have been a great story for Seth to attempt to cash in on Jey Uso on Monday and Roman be the one to stop him, because Jey Uso, that would have been really, really cool. That didn't happen. But the other person to factor into this is we talked just a few minutes ago how Cody Rhodes factors into all this, because let's play out that scenario that you just said. Rollins cashes in on Punk, and then Punk Rollins at SummerSlam for the championship. Is Cody Cena just not for the championship at SummerSlam? Does it even happen? How does Cody fit into all that? But Andy, on Friday Night SmackDown, Seth Rollins whispered something to Cody Rhodes. That's been, a lot of people have speculated that. A lot of people have forgotten about it. What do you think? How do you think all that shakes out?
I don't really know. Like, I think that's one of the really interesting things about what they've done so far, especially with Seth's new group, is, adding these little moments of intrigue, of just doing, talking to people that he normally wouldn't talk to, or trying, the whole thing with Sami Zayn a couple weeks ago, where they both cut that promo back and forth. Like, stuff like that is really, really interesting. And I think adding Cody to the mix and their history, I think it's a possibility that maybe SummerSlam, Cody beats Cena and Seth cashes in on Cody.
Yeah.
And then that way, like, you're kind of not necessarily put a bow on Cody Cena, but you're moving from it. You're going back to a rivalry that works with Cody and Seth.
Yep.
Maybe earlier that night, or whatever, night one, you have Punk Rollins 1-on-1. Put him in a cell, please. Put him in a cell. Have him go at it, and then maybe he cashes in night two. Punk goes off and does his own thing from here on out. We go Cody, Seth, and then Cena. He's only got 18 dates left, so he's not going to be throughout the rest of the year coming consistently.
17 after this Friday.
Yeah.
16 after Saudi.
Yeah.
We're getting down to it.
We're getting close to it. So I don't think Cena's title run is going to last the whole year.
No, I don't think so either.
So I think now would be a decent time to flip it.
I'll be honest. In asking you that question about Cody, I didn't plan on asking you that question. I don't have an answer for it. But as you're answering it, a thought just creeped into my mind. We've seen Daniel Bryan posed to be a member of the Wyatt family. We've seen Randy Orton pose to be a member of the Authority. What if Cody Rhodes posed a heel turn in this Seth Rollins group and then turned on Seth, imploded it from the inside, and got his championship back that way? What do you think?
I like it. I think it's too early.
Sure. Okay.
For the group.
Okay.
I think it's too early. But I do think I did think something like that. Maybe like, at SummerSlam or wherever. Maybe even in the King of the Ring. Maybe like Seth and his group help Cody win the King of the Ring tournament. And then, we head into SummerSlam and maybe it seems like we're going back and forth, and then Cody just defiantly is like, no, I'm not helping you. And then Seth cashes in, or, something like that I could see.
Sure.
But I think it's very intriguing. I think it's a very intriguing idea to do it at some point. I just feel like it's way too soon to do it within the next couple months.
I mean, you could drag it all the way out and you run Cody Seth back at WrestleMania next year. I mean,
you could.
You're not going to get too many arguments from anybody running that match back. I mean, come on. A 5-star Hell in a Cell match with a torn pec. I mean, good grief. Come on now.
Yep.
Not that I'm endorsing Dave Meltzer, but he rated it that, so it's fine. All right. Man, Money in the Bank was so loaded. I can't believe that we literally recorded a whole episode on Monday night and did not talk about the results of Money in the Bank. Didn't even talk about John Cena and CM Punk being confirmed. And the reason is because R-Truth has just made so many waves. Ron Killings cutting his hair, the whole 9 yards again. We talked all about that on Monday. Go check out that episode. It's available in the archives. And Andy, that's going to close up shop for this episode of Squared Circle Radio. It's been a loaded week, man. It's going to get even more loaded. If you're new to the YouTube channel, go check out the AC/DC vlog that finally got up on the channel. Jared and I went to see AC/DC at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. So go check that out. And if that's not enough behind the scenes for you, this Friday, SmackDown, Lexington, Kentucky. I can't talk. Your boy is going to be there. I will shoot another vlog that will be coming soon on the channel. So be sure you're locked in. Be sure you're subscribed for the absolute best content in the game, Andy. They want to be subscribed. It's free. It doesn't cost a thing. And there's so much to get to.
Exactly. You definitely want to subscribe. You want to keep going on this journey with us. Follow us on all of our social media handles. We like to tweet out during shows and during the week and everything else. You definitely want to jump on the Squared Circle Radio bandwagon before it gets too full and we have no room for you. I'm sorry, that might happen. So you got to jump on now while you can. Listen, we talk about motivated Mark Stoops. You're looking at motivated Andy York right now. We're ready to get this thing rolling. Just don't be Vince Morrow and leave me.
Oh, we know how it worked out when another Kentucky beloved person left for Louisville. We saw how that worked out, and apparently he didn't teach Vince Morrow anything, so it's fine.
I don't blame him. Stoops is an idiot.
I don't either. For more sports talk, though, this is the first time I've been able to put this on this platform. If you're a Tennessee Titans fan, or if you're just an NFL fan in general, the Believe in Titans podcast, available on podcast only, is now hosted by yours truly. So go check it out wherever you find your podcast. It's also on Sirius XM. That's pretty fun. So I am on Sirius XM. It's pretty cool. Cool. The Believe in Titans podcast, hosted by yours truly. We have, by the time you're listening to this, 3 episodes in the books. I've had 24/7 sports scouting analyst Cooper Patagna breaking down the college career of Cam Ward. A lot of fun. And then, as you're listening to this, CBS Sports draft expert Ryan Wilson breaking down the first 5 draft picks of the Tennessee Titans from this year. So lots of good stuff. Go check it out if you're a Titans fan. Again, if you're an NFL fan, it's a lot of great insight that you're not going to get anywhere else. So come hang with us. It's a lot of fun. And again, Squared Circle Radio, you're a wrestling fan, you're here. Just subscribe. It will help us all so much. That's going to do it. We appreciate you guys being with us. Again, drop those comments and questions. We will get to all of those. I promise you. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. Another edition of Squared Circle Radio is in the books, and we will catch you guys down the road.